Let's talk about another martial artist who I met at South Coast Martial Arts who has had a massive influence on me, and that is D.Y Sao. D.Y was actually originally from Cambodia and came to the US as a refugee. He grew up on the east side of Long Beach during a time where there was gang wars and a lot of racial tensions, so he had to learn how to defend himself. He was unable to afford martial arts lessons as a kid, so instead he taught himself martial arts through watching martial arts movies. His dad would even go to karate schools and just watch the class, try to memorize the movements, and then come back and try to teach them to DY. DY eventually enrolled in a Wushu school. I believe it was Southern California Wushu Academy, and within a few years, he thrived and he became one of the best Wushu competitors in that school. And on top of that, he was able to make the US national team. He was known for the broadsword and the bow staff. DY was always athletically inclined and his movements were incredible. At South Coast Martial Arts, when I would see him spar people, when I would see him train on his own, especially when he was training on his own, it was like he was in his own world. And I just loved watching his movement. It was pretty incredible. I had never seen someone move like that before. DY had this extensive Wushu background and even competed on a show in China called K-Star. And the fascinating thing about that show is that that's where he met Philip, because Philip was also competing on it. Philip's gym now is named K-Star as well. So they met there, and then DY started teaching at South Coast Martial Arts. DY was also a good friend of my boxing coach, Tu-Win, because they both grew up in Long Beach together. They went to the same high school, and they were even on the same demo performance team called Flung Dung. He was an incredible martial artist. I really looked up to him in that way. Towards the end of our journey there at South Coast Martial Arts, I ended up becoming a lot closer with him, and I was his sparring partner. We were sparring partners for years, and in fact, we did a type of technical sparring that we just called like flow sparring, which is we just had MMA gloves and a mouthpiece, and we were able to do so many different martial arts techniques. I was able to really express myself. What I learned through doing that type of sparring was that it was actually more productive than doing hard sparring, which I was used to doing in the past. This type of sparring allowed me to be a lot more creative. And on top of that, it also allowed me to try new techniques and new things that really leveled me up. And why was I so comfortable trying them? Because if I made a mistake and he countered, I knew that he wasn't going to hurt me with a strike. So since there wasn't that massive consequence, I was able to practice new martial arts techniques. So it completely leveled me up. And he even helped me get better at doing jumps and flips, because he would have us do jumps after sparring when we were exhausted and too exhausted to actually care about how much fear we have doing the jump. And we were more relaxed, so it's easier to get more air. So it was a really interesting method of training that he had, and DY has always had fascinating methods of training. Outside of being a sparring partner, I was able to train with him in a lot of different ways. I did a type of forms training with him over the years where we would get a group of people that all had different martial arts backgrounds. We would do sections of movements, kind of like in Wushu, but these sections of movements would be from various martial arts because we all had a different martial art background. And then at the very end of the training session, we would put all those movements together into a form, which was just incredible training because it taught you to not only be creative, but to get out of your comfort zone and move in a different way, because you had to move in a style that you had never trained before. It was incredible training, and it was kind of a really good modality for getting better at film fighting because we were able to change shapes, change energies, change tempos on a whim by switching to different martial arts styles. So it was pretty incredible. So I did that with him, and DY has dedicated his life and his career to martial arts and martial arts action cinema. And as a result, he starred in a lot of movies. Throughout my film journey, I was able to be in a lot of his films. I was in his film Hanuman. I was in his film Bangkok Dog, and we recently did a film in Thailand that will be coming out in about a year. I've learned so much from DY. I truly consider DY to be one of my martial arts masters. He has taught me so much as a martial artist, as a film fighter, even as a person. And he's been a good mentor for me as well. I'm honored to call him my friend. We spent a lot of time together. We would go eat Korean barbecue all the time and just talk about whatever, philosophy and life. And it's really been a pleasure this whole time getting to know him and to work with him on these films.